guys, so a lot of you had asked me for a more in-depth class on highlighting and contouring. So that's what I'm going to do today. So the most important thing with highlighting and contouring is placement. You want to make sure that you're putting the highlight and contour where it belongs, so that way it's actually highlighting and contouring your face. So for when you highlight, I'm going to go ahead and start doing that and kind of explain it as I go along. The most important thing is to use your right shade. If you just want a more natural look, doing a shade that's a color that's one shade lighter in your triangle of light, and then for your contour you want to do 1 or 2 shades darker. If you want something more dramatic, you can do 2 or 3 shades lighter than your actual skin tone, and then for contour you can do 2 or 3 shades darker, just depending on how dramatic you want it to be. So I'm going to use 2 different highlight shades today, and this is my Maskcara compact, and it is cream based, so the foundation is actually built right in. So I'm not going to prep my face with anything else. I did wash it before I did this video, because you do want to start with a clean, moisturized face. So White Peach is the color that actually matches my skin tone. So I'm going to use that around my jawline and under my contour. And then for my under eye, I'm going to use Moonlit, because that's actually a shade lighter. I'm going to use my 30-second hack brush. I'm going to use this for both ends for my highlight today. I'm going to use the smaller, more pointed end for my under eye area, and then I'm going to use the bottom area to put that on my chin and to blend in. So I'm going to start with Moonlit. And as I said, it's just a little lighter than my natural shade. Also, before I do that, I'm going to do a little bit of spot treating. And I'm going to use Sunlit, which is this yellow shade here. Yellow is good for offsetting redness and dark colors. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that on my multitasker. And this is just a scar. So I'm just going to put a little there, a little right in the dark circles under my eyes. And then just a little here, because I do have just some discoloration. But it also does help with blemishes. The multitasker is great because it's small and compact and dense, so it'll pack it on there nicely. So for my under eye area, as I said, I'm going to use Moonlit because it is a shade lighter. And since these are cream-based products, you don't want to just swipe them on. You want it to sit it and press it into your face and then swipe it. So for the triangle of light, it goes right here and then down. That is the part that you want to be the brightest. So I'm using Moonlit, and a lot of people just swipe it right underneath their eyes. You want to do more of a pie shape, a triangle. So I'm going to do all the way down to my mouth. I'm going to do the same on the other side. And as I said, you do a triangular shape. Just a little in the center of my forehead, because that's part of the triangle of light. And then down, I'm actually going to use my multitasker to do down the center of my nose, right here, and then just a little on my chin. I'm going to use my multitasker because, as I said, it does do a more concentrated amount. So I'm just going to put that right there. And then also right down the sides of my nose. A lot of people make the mistake with contouring is they will have a lot of redness on my nose, so I'm just going to cover the whole thing. A lot of people will contour the whole side of their nose, and that's not what you want to do. If you do that, you'll just make it look like your nose is long and really narrow. You don't want it to be look just long and skinny. So you just contour down the sides, which I'll show you once I do contour. I actually use this also as a base for my eyes. And I don't have it all blended in perfectly right now. I'm going to do that in a minute. So as I said, I used a shade lighter in the area for my triangle of light. Next, I'm going to use White Peach, which is a shade that matches my skin tone. I'm just going to use the other end of my brush. And I'm just going to get the rest of my face with this. And as I said, I don't know if I can see comments, but if you're watching, go ahead and comment so I know whether or not I can see comments. Alright, so the foundation's built in to this highlight and contour set, so I did not put any other primer or foundation on. I'm just using this, and now I'm going to blend everything in using just the brush. Alright, so next, just make sure, you have to make sure your color matches your neck. You don't want to have to put the makeup all the way down your neck, but you do want to blend it a little underneath just to make sure you don't have a straight line on your jawline. Next, I'm going to contour, and as I said, when you contour, you want to make sure that the colors are either warm or cool, depending on what tone you are. I can actually wear all 6 of our shades, but today I'm going to use Ash, which is a more cool tone, which is what most people do prefer. It's more ashy than orange. So I'm going to use Ash for my contour. And when you contour, it also depends on your face shape for where exactly you contour. But generally, it's about the same placement for most people. So you want to do the top of your forehead and down to right about here. You don't want it to go into your temple or you'll close your face in too much. And then you do want to blend it into your hairline. And then you also want to do right on your cheekbones, and which is usually right about here. If you have trouble finding it, you can just do a fish face and it'll suck in and show you kind of where you need to do that. You can also do your jawline down the center of your nose. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm using Ash. I'm going to do my forehead. And like I said, don't go all the way down past your eyebrow, or you'll just close in your face. And then you'll just look a little gaunt. And another thing is people blend, when they blend their contour, they blend it down. And when you do that, you're just dragging your face down and you'll look gaunt. I don't know, I can't think of another word. So you want to blend upwards. You don't want it to be too far down. And I start here because I want this part to be more concentrated and a little deeper, and then blend downward. And you don't want to go into the area that you have your lap lines. You want to keep the contour further back. So, okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and, this isn't something that I normally do for everyday wear, but you can also contour right here, especially when you're super fair like I am. If you don't have some sort of coloring, like contour something here, your face can kind of disappear into your neck. You can also contour your Adam's apple if you want. Not your Adam's apple, unless you're a man and then you want to contour. Your throat right there. And I'll blend all of this in so it won't stay looking like this. Usually that's another thing that people do, not necessarily wrong, but you don't want just a straight harsh line when you're contouring. You want it to be blended in so it looks more natural, like you have a natural shadow. That's what contouring is. Contouring adds shadows and dimension to your face, so you don't want it just to be super harsh, and just look dirty. So next I'm going to contour my nose, and I'm going to use shadow because it is definitely a more cooler tone, and it creates more of a shadow. So I'm just going to contour right there, down the sides, and all of this will be blended in. And you want to try to do up into your eyebrow. So it looks natural. And then I actually have a bump right here on my nose. So if you have anything like that, you can kind of try to color that in a little and try to get that to blend a little better, to kind of hide that a little. So I'm just going to use this brush that I used. It's the 30-second hack. It's the one that I used for my highlight shade. This is the detail hack. That's what I used for my contour. And then you're just going to blend it. Blending is with any makeup really, but especially for contouring, blending is super important because you don't want, as I said, you don't want, so when you highlight and contour and do your makeup in general, it's to bring out your natural beauty and just your features that you already have and just enhance them a little. So you don't want it to look like you're just wearing a bunch of layers and be cakey. Another thing you can do if you have a round face, you can take your contour. I'm going to use the smaller end of my detail hack, and you can create an apple, like a roundness to where it looks like you have more dimension. So just curl it up, and like I said, you don't want to go into here. So you just want that to go up that way, and it will create more dimension. And then blend. If you want a more dramatic contour, that's fine also. It's just preference really. And then I'm going to use my Perfector sponge with my Stay setting spray. I'm going to use that to blend everything in. And since it is a cream-based foundation, it is more dewy. And if that's totally preference, if you don't want a more dewy finish, or if you're oily, or if you know you're going to be out in the heat all day, you can set it with a loose powder, which is what I'm going to do today. Today I'm going to do a full face, more dramatic contour, just so I can go more in depth with everything. And then another day this week during the class, I'm going to do just a really quick, super simple hack, and hack is highlight and contour, and go over any questions that anybody has throughout the weekend. So I'm going to use my Coty Airspun. It's not the translucent one, it's the Naturally Neutral shade, but it's very finely, it's a very fine powder, so I'm going to use that to bake my face. I'm going to use my damp sponge, and I'm just going to set that in the places that I did my highlight area. You can also use a pressed powder if you have more of a dry face. I'm kind of in between, but that's why it's so important to moisturize, because if you do have, really with any foundation you have, that you would wear, if you have dry patches, it just won't really look good with your foundation. But if you are dry, a dewy finish is what a lot of people prefer. That way you can't, it doesn't emphasize the dryness as much. So you don't have to set this with powder. I'm just doing this for those of you that want a more in-depth lesson on how to highlight and contour, more specifically with mascara. So I'm putting this everywhere, that, especially my nose. So I'm not sure about a lot of you. A few people have told me that they have issues with this as well. My nose does not want to hold any makeup. That's another reason why I use the multitasker to apply it to my nose, because my makeup just always seems to come off of my nose before the rest of my face makeup does. So I'm going to set that with powder as well. And I'm going to get a little more powder. And set my other under my other eye. Using setting powder under your eye also helps when you're doing your eyeshadow. First of all, if you're truly baking, which is what is considered when you're putting heavy amounts of powder on, it creates a, so your natural body heat kind of gets stuck in between the powder, and it will kind of bake the powder to set it more, so you don't have any creasing or any trouble with that. So I'm going to set my forehead, and I know if you're just catching on now, I probably look a little insane, but it's only going to be like this for a few minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and do my eyebrows. Let me dust some powder off. I'm going to use my multitasker. I'm going to use this end, which is the side I use to contour down the side of my nose. So yeah, do not be frightened by the powder. It's just going to be on while I'm doing my eye makeup. And I can zoom you in a little if you'd like to see a more close up. So just give me a sec. So I'm going to use the smaller end of my T-tail hack because it does have, it's just a really thin brush, and it lets you create more natural hairline strokes. So I'm using shadow contour. And I'm just going to zoom you in for a minute. I have one of my mascara sisters actually got me a clip-on ring light for my phone. So I was super excited to use that today for my first live, and for the first time in my live. And so it's kind of blocking where I need my eyebrows. So, all right. So as I said, it's very fine. You want to, I need to get a mirror for this. Just create natural, like little flicks to create hairlines. Okay. So I'm just going, I need to brush off some of this from my eyebrows. All right, so I'm just going to use my mirror here real quick to create little hairs. All right, I'm just going to do little lines. Maskcara actually just came out with a spoolie brush, but it's called the Know Your Angles brush. I just haven't had a chance to purchase it yet, but that will be perfect for blending in your brows. All right, and I just go, for my arch, I just take and draw a line just where my natural lash line is, because I like the shape of my brows. They're just very sparse. I don't have a lot of actual hairs, and the ones I do have are kind of light. So I'm just going to, oh, my stomach's making a crazy noise. Okay, so I'm just going to blend that in. All right, so I'm using shadow with my multitasker brush. And I'm just doing little hairline strokes. Hopefully you can see that. Just so it looks natural. And then for here, I just follow my natural arch. And same for the top, just simple strokes. You can also use, this is my cream contour that I'm using for my eyebrows. You can also use eyeshadow in setting spray with this brush. This is, I like the cream. I think it holds a little better throughout the day. Just make sure these match up. Okay. So, next I'm going to do my eyeshadow. I guess I can keep you zoomed in while I do that as well. So I'm going to use my eyeshadow everything brush. I'm going to use, I just washed these yesterday, so I'm going to use the bigger, fluffier side as my, to do my transition shades. I'm going to use my BH Cosmetics Carly Bible palette. This is the deluxe edition. I got this at Ulta. I'm going to use it, I'm going to use, let's see. So I'm going to do a purple. Yeah, I'm going to do a purple eyeshadow look today. So I'm going to use, try not to blind you with my light. So I'm going to be using these, where is it? These two shades for my transition shades. I'm going to start with this color here. It's kind of a purple tan, I guess mauve. So I'm just going in, and as I said, the powder, the setting powder will help with any fallout. And this one doesn't have a lot of fallout, but it does have some, so I also just tap it a little. Oh. So that's just going to be my first transition shade. Oh, there we go. I feel like my light might be not as bright. Okay, so next I'm going to go in with this purple shade here. And I'm just doing windshield wiper motions back and forth. I'm doing this in my phone. So I just keep checking my mirror to make sure that it's blending how I would like it to blend. Okay, so I'm going to go in with this shade just to lighten the top of my eye. Okay, I'm going to use the smaller end just to pack that on a little better. So the transition is a little bit more seamless. And then blend it out with the fluffier side again. So next I'm going to take this darker shade here. It's kind of a plum color. And I'm going to use the smaller end of my eyeshadow everything brush and just go into the outer corner of my brow, my lid. and kind of blend that towards the center. And as you can see, I am having fallout with this eyeshadow. And I'm going to put that a little bit above my natural line because I do have hooded eyes, so I want to make sure that you are able to see it when my eyes are open. And just lightly blend that. Alright, next I'm going to use my eyeshadow primer. This is the Ulta Beauty Tinted Eye Primer. It's in Satin Blush. I'm going to go ahead, I'm done with most of my powders that I'm going to use for my eyeshadow, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set my cream contour with a powder bronzer. I'm going to use the Cayman bronzer from Maskcara. And I'm going to use the bigger end. I'm just going to pinch it a little just to get it in a concentrated area. And then I'm just going to set that right where I've already contoured. And this step isn't necessary all the time, but since I'm doing a more dramatic look, and since I'm setting the rest of my face, I like to set all cream products with powder. Because you don't want to just set part of your face, unless you're just setting for reasons, for if you're oily. And I'm just going to put that right into my forehead, and I'm just going to blend out. And adding the powder also does make your highlighted areas even more highlighted, if you're going, especially if you're going for a more dramatic highlight and contour. I'm just going to make sure I get all of that blended. Alright, there we go. So, as I said, I'm going to use the Ulta Beauty eyeshadow primer. I'm just going to use a little bit right in the center, the inner corner of my eye. And I'm going to use my multitasker, the wider side. I'm just going to blend that in. Alright, I'm going to use the same brush. 1 second. I need to wipe this brush off real quick because I'm also going to use it to pack the eyeshadow on. So this is the multitasker, and it really is can be used for so many different things. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to use a combination of this color and this color. They're both shimmery shades. I'm going to use this color in my inner corner, and then I'm going to use this one as a transition shade into the darker color that I put on the outer corner. So I'm going to start with the lighter color, and I'm just going to put that right on my lid. This is going to lighten up the rest of the eye look. And I'm doing that in just where, okay, so when I did the outer corner, I just went into where the whites of my eyes were, and I'm doing the same on this. And then the middle transition color will be where my pupil is, if that makes sense. So I'm using the same brush. to get that purple shimmery shade. And I need to use my mirror for this part. I haven't had lunch yet because I had to take my son to school and then I wanted to get this video done, so ignore my stomach being all crazy. Alright, and then, as I said, blending is super important, so I'm going to blend that in. I'm going to use my Eyeshadow Everything brush just to blend that. Alright, and then I'm going to use the smaller side again, and I'm going to take that really deep plum, matte plum color, and I'm going to go right under my lower lash line. Actually, I'm going to use my multitasker because it does have, it gives me a more precise line. So I'm going to just wipe that off real quick using the smaller end of my matte multitasker. And I'm going to use this dark plum shade here. I'm just going to line my, I'm going to take the dark color all the way to the, until I get to the white of my inner corner. So I need to look straight forward for this part. If you guys have any questions, as I said, I will be doing another live video, probably on Monday, answering any questions that anybody would have about highlighting and contouring or mascara in general. So that was the dark plum shade. And then I'm going to use the light shade that I used on my inner corner. I'm just going to bring that down into, it's kind of a rose, like a champagne-y rose gold. I'm going to put that right there in the inner corner of my lash line. And then also just right, I'm going to take the wider end of my multitasker and I'm going to take just my white powder highlighter here, and I'm going to get the white highlighter and put that right on my brow bone underneath my eyebrow. And you want to make sure you don't get too far down. You just want to highlight your brow bone. I'm going to do just a little bit of the inside corner because you don't want it to, well, maybe you do. I mean, most people don't want it to be too intense. If that's your thing, go for it. So again, I'm going to blend my, I lost my brush. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so there it is. My Eyeshadow Everything brush. I'm going to use the bigger side just to blend that, blend in the highlight, and then I'm just going to take my smaller end of it just to kind of soften that up a little. Alright, next I'm going to add some blush. The reason I didn't put my blush on before when I was, I think my light is dying. So the reason I didn't put my blush on before is because since I was doing setting powder over my highlight, I didn't want to like make it look washed out, because it would cover the blush and then you wouldn't be able to really see it. So today I'm going to use my B-squared brush. This is I use the bigger side for bronzing and buffing out all my powder. I'm using the smaller side for my blush. So I'm using Nude, which is this shade right here. And I'm just going to tap that in a couple times. And then when you put your blush on, again, same as contour, you don't want to go past this area here, but you also don't want to go too far up into your temples. You just want it to look like you're naturally blushing. So you don't, you just put it right in this area. You don't even want to put it too far into your nose or too far up into your eyes, or it'll just look like you're flushed. So, and you want to blend that into your contour. You don't want it to just be like highlight, contour, highlight, blush, contour, highlight. You want it to all blend seamlessly, which is why blending is so important. So I'm using Nude blush. My ring light is dying, so the lighting has changed just a little. So I just tapped that on at first, and now I'm just going to blend that. I'm going to go ahead and use my perfector, my sponge again, just to make sure all of that is blended in. And it is damp with the setting spray that I use, which is the Stay Spray. So I'm going to use Honey Illuminator today, which is right here, the golden one. I'm just going to use the end of my sponge, and I'm just going to push it in there. And for the illuminator, which some people call highlighter, which is different than what the highlight area was. You don't want that whole area to be shiny. So the illuminator goes, you can put it above your brow bone, which is where I put my powder highlight. You can put it on the tip of your nose. And then you can also put it on this area right here. Don't want it too close into your eyes. So I just do a C motion. I wish my ring light wasn't dying. So you can get a better picture of what it's looking like. But I will hurry up and charge that as soon as I'm done here, so I can take a picture and show you how this shows up. And then you also want to just put a little on your Cupid's bow. That's another thing. I did not contour under my lip here, which is something you can do. I think I'm going to put just a little bit of bronzer there using my 30-second hack. I'm just going to put some powder there. It just does, it gives your lips more dimension. It makes them look a little fuller. So I'm using my Cayman powder since I've already set the rest of my face with powder. So I'm just going to, and of course with the lighting it looks like it's a lot darker than what it is. So like I said, since I set the rest of my face with powder, I'm also going to set my illuminator, which you can see works on its own, or if you want a more dewy finish, that's fine too. But since I set everything else with powder, I'm going to go ahead and set this as well. I'm going to go ahead and use the gold highlighter here, which is in my Carly Bible palette. I'm just going to sweep it right over my cream illuminator. And as with everything else, you want to make sure it's blended in. Because you don't want just like bam in your face highlighter for most days, unless you're looking for a more glam look. So next I'm going to use my Revlon lip liner. A lot of people don't, yeah, it's just dead. I'm going to bring it in a little closer. A lot of people don't like to use lip liner. I do. And I don't really overline my lips a lot, but I do like it to hold my lipstick in place. Alright, so I'm just going to use my Neutrogena Moisture Smooth Color Stick. This is the shade Almond Nude. It's just a nice, like, balm stick. I'm going to use that. And like I said, I like the lip liner just to kind of hold it in place. Next, I'm going to use, I already did curl my eyelashes, but I'm going to go ahead and use my Better Than Sex Mascara by Too Faced. Before I do that, actually, I'm going to set my makeup with my setting spray. And this is the Stay Spray by Maskcara. It does have, open my mouth, a more harsh spray. It's not like a super fine mist, but that's intentional because you want to make sure you're using enough setting spray. Just don't talk while you're doing it. Alright, so mascara. I'm going to use my Too Faced mascara. I'm going to use a mirror for this as well, just because it's so much easier. Alright, let me just turn this way. I'm going to do my lower lashes first. And then, because I don't want to blink and get it where I already set my face. And I'm going to do one more coat of that. Where did I put? Oh, there it is. So I'm going to do one more coat of mascara. Sorry, I have to be super focused while I'm doing my mascara, or I'll just mess it up. So I'm going to go ahead and I like to move around my mascara just to make sure my lashes aren't stuck together. All right, that's it. I will go ahead and charge my ring light real quick. This is what it looks like, and I had it on the highest setting. It still is on, it's just it's not as good since it's dying. I'll go ahead and charge it real quick and take a picture so you can see what it looks like in good lighting. And obviously this is what it looks like in not so good lighting. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them. That way I can answer them when I'm doing my quick hack on Monday. Thanks for watching. Bye.